Glenn Loury here. This is the Glenn Show. We're the Black Guys at bloggingheads.tv. There's a lot of talk about a lot of other stuff. There's not enough talk about the people who are suffering these losses. There are thousands of you. I know you know that. There are thousands of Black mothers who've lost every year children to homicide. So again, my heart goes out to you, Sylvia. But we don't want to just dwell on the negative. I want to hear something about the way that you are responding constructively, and the people that you're working with, and the program and the vision that you have. Can you talk about what the work of Voices of Black Mothers United?
Absolutely. That is the right part of this, turning that energy that you have into being effective with solutions in your community is the greatest feeling of all. And that's what a lot of mothers do, because you don't know what to do with all those emotions. So you turn that into advocacy. So we have mothers from a lot of states, and still recruiting, coming together as one. They're already doing work within their community. So we're bringing all the best practice on and putting those best practice on the table with hopes to duplicate those things that are working within their communities, duplicating them and putting them in other communities to make them safer. We have 3 initiatives. One is advocacy, and that's where we help heal our communities. We help heal our mothers who's going through the loss of a child. Glenn, 26% of parents die at the death of a child. 26%.
Within some period of time after
within
the loss.
10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Within
my God,
10
I hadn't. Oh my God, what a statistic!
On the 5th year of the death of our girls, the other mom died. So I know these numbers to be factual. The pain in itself can kill you if you allow it. And the pain, some mothers choose to self-medicate, drink drugs. Some check out, just become socially detached. And then there's others. We get out and we hit the streets, So the advocacy part of it is for us to reach out and grab a hold of those mothers who want to check out, to give them purpose. Don't let your child death be in vain. So we bring them in, we love on them, and we help them heal. And I'm going to tell you this, everyone that we work with, personally, I would say for me, every mother I work with make me stronger. Every time it makes me stronger. So that healing helps heal as well. Our second initiative is community intervention, whereas we look at what are the programs and solutions that are working, that's effective, that can make changes in our communities, and we try to implement those changes in all to bring some kind of safety to our communities and keeping our children safe. I have a son, he's got children, and I just can't imagine doing nothing to try to keep them safe.
What do some of these community interventions look like?
Well, one that we're actually in the process of implementing is working with Chief Rodney Monroe. Chief Rodney Monroe used to be police chief in, I want to say, Virginia and in Baltimore, and then in Florida before he retired. He used to implement a program where he had mothers who's gone through the process of losing their child come to the scene of a homicide with him. So we have collectively put together a package where all of my mothers are certified through DOJ as victim service advocates, right? And we're coming together with the police and we're training with the police. And we're going to the scenes with police. Therefore,
to the scenes of the crimes, excuse me.
Absolutely.
To the scenes of the homicide?
Correct.
With perhaps the victim still at the scene?
That's correct.
Excuse me for interrupting, but my God. And what are you doing there?
While the police are able to do their job, we're able to deal with the family because we know exactly what that family is going through. We know exactly how to calm that family down. Whereas the police seems, they're there to do a job. And prayerfully, the job is to get as much information as they can to close that homicide. For an example, and I always use my case as the example. If the police had gotten to the homicide scene of my daughter, one, she may not have been dead. Okay? Two, if they were able to properly assess that scene, perhaps they would have gotten a gun. And things could have went totally differently in terms of court. Because at the end of the day, we as victims, only thing we want is justice. We'll never get our baby back.
One of the things that you might do in terms of intervening is to try to comfort the parents or the family so that they don't be tempted to take matters into their own hands.
Oh, absolutely. So what that does, it sets a tone to where they don't retaliate.
I see.
And then there's another murder if there's retaliation. And it spirals and it keeps going. So by us being there, we can allow the police to do their job and we can help the parents or the family members on the scene right there. We can offer the help. We're wanting to bring a mental health specialist with us. That's the next phase of adding on. So those are the interventions that has been proven to work.
That means, excuse me again, that you're on call, that the police can contact you at a moment's notice, that you'll drop everything that you might be doing and hurry yourself over to a homicide crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
God.
You have to remember, we're Black mothers and we're strong. We are so committed to what we're doing. This is not talk. We're talking about solutions. So we are boots on the ground doing what we say we're going to do. Now, our third initiative is promoting positive policing. Okay, so we're saying we don't support the defund the police initiative at all. Because realistically, and if you talk to the people in the community, just about 80% is just going to say, man, we know we need the police in our communities. We know that. But why is it that they don't speak out and say these things in their community? I don't know. So we became that voice. And now you have more people saying, oh, yeah, it's ridiculous defunding the police, right? But we are saying that we want to promote positive policing. I work with police all day, every day for years. There are some good ones and there are some not so good ones. And that's just the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
I always use the example of a customer service clerk. You have some good ones and you have some not so good ones, right? You know, so there are professions that people just should not be in. And there's no different than the law enforcement. Some of them should not be there, right? So we want to promote that positive policing. We want to promote those who have sworn to be peace officers and doing just that. We want to promote those officers who are getting out, getting to know their community members within their beat, right? Those are the ones we want to encourage, we want to promote, and we want to support. And we want to encourage others to do the same.
How do you do that?
How do we do that? One, we start community communications, meaning bring together police and the community to the table. A lot of what the community hear about the police is from the community, right? Yeah. So you don't give those officers a chance. You don't give them, you don't get to know them. Just recently, we had a forum where we brought police officers and victims of violence to the table. They had exchange where they said their piece, police said their piece, and then they said, well, wow, I never knew that. As a result of that, we had one mother whose son was actually shot and killed by police. And her tone in her community was anger towards law enforcement altogether, which set the tone in her community. Everyone was going to back her up, right? But once she actually sat there and talked with a lot of the police officers, she realized it wasn't the law enforcement that killed her son. It was that one police officer. So she can go back and set a different tone in her community and break down some of those barriers. And look, Glenn, in breaking down those barriers, what does that mean for the community? If they engage with the law enforcement, that means that they will feel better about talking to law enforcement. That means that they're taking control of their community by talking to law enforcement. Because see, now, if I say to you, well, here's the murderer of little Johnny, you're getting that bad apple out of your community. Because if he murdered little Johnny, he just might murder your little Sally, because he don't care. So you're getting that bad element out of your community, which in turn, you're making your community safer. So they're taking charge of their own safety in that community by just breaking down those communication barriers.